My name is Jenny Anchondo, and I'm here as the host and moderator for each of these events here on Thursday afternoons. Welcome to Same Place, New Time. I hope that this is convenient for you. We are now at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. So welcome from wherever you are watching from. We are in for a treat. It's actually a two-part series that starts today. I think it's going to be incredibly helpful, especially considering many of the different professions and businesses that I know a lot of you are in. Let's talk about today's speaker. She is Veronica Still, who is a project expansion manager and financial coach. I love the title of the series that we're having today and next week. It is Begin with the End in Mind. Begin with the end in mind. So you're lucky if you're here with us today for the first time because it is part one. Part two will be a week from today, same time, same place. But let me tell you a little bit about Veronica before she gets going. She is a wife, a mother, an entrepreneur. She says that she's really inspired by her family, and that's who, sort of prompts her to grow and to reach further every single day. She is a former teacher and instructional coach for an independent school district. She and her family really took a leap of faith and they jumped on a business opportunity. So she went from teaching into this business opportunity, which I always think is incredibly fascinating. They're in the financial industry, so they cover three major sectors, and I think it's important to key in on what these are. They are investment, mortgage, and insurance. So her team helps families to create individualized financial plans, and they are part of the Builders Business School organization, which has many different focus areas, including training, developing, and mentoring leaders to become brokers in the financial industry. So I think it's an interesting personal story, but also professionally, we have a lot to learn from her. So I'm going to mute myself. I'm going to enjoy this presentation right along with you, and I'm going to be looking for your questions as we go. All right, Veronica Still, take it away.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you so much. I really love your energy. You have a beautiful smile. Thank you so much for your support. I just feel you. You're amazing. You have great things in store for you as well. And I want to thank the SED organization for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today. I'm not coming to you just as a teacher, but I'm coming with you as a colleague, somebody who is learning, somebody who hasn't learned everything, but is here and is willing to also learn and to learn with you along the process. I want to welcome all of you entrepreneurs, mompreneurs out there, people that are business minded, people that are probably perhaps looking into going into business. And like I said, it's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of the SET organization. I really love what they stand for and being such an asset to our community. And I just love the resources that you guys bring, the trainings, the seminars. You guys that's amazing, because that's a lot of what our people need today. And also I want to thank Raul also and behind the scenes for helping me, just making things easy. I really appreciate that. So before we get started, I just want to give you a heads up. I told Raul yesterday that we have construction here at our house. They were not making noise and they just started hammering out there, but we're good. So, and like Jenny was saying, today we have a really, I believe it's an amazing topic, beginning with the end in mind, guys. It's I believe not just coming from me, but from experts like Stephen Covey, who has written many books that are talking about self-development, and he really talks and expands upon beginning with the end in mind. So today we're going to be looking at how to really think about that, put it into perspective, set up a time to really think about what it is that you want, to visualize what you want, to set an action plan. But we're not necessarily looking at an action plan today of perhaps of what you're looking, of what you're probably used to, not the action plan that's going to make you the money, but a different action plan, a different perspective, right? Because you want to set yourself up for success and business and with your family, regardless if you're single or if you have a family. You want to ensure that you have both things going for you, because you just don't want to juggle your business, but you just don't and you just can also just be a mom or be a dad, because your family needs you. Your family needs you to provide as well. So I'm Veronica Still. I am an expansion director, manager, and a financial coach with the Mancias and Associates. And it's really exciting to be a part of an organization that supports also entrepreneurs, because we have a different business that is not your typical and traditional business. And so what I love about it is just the opposite of what a regular small business today would be, which I will get into that here shortly. So this is my beautiful family. They make me so emotional that every time I look at them, I'm like, wow, like guys, like they're just like perhaps with you, they are everything to me. And we just recently celebrated our 6th year anniversary with my husband. And let me tell you guys that this year it was such an emotional celebration, not because my husband was gonna take me on a trip, which we didn't go on a trip, but or not because he was gonna take me out to an amazing dinner or anything like that, but because I realized that I loved him more than I thought I could love him. Because through this process, God has really shown me how to love and has really shown me the definition of what love is. And I just told him, I said, I loved you when we got married, but today this is a different kind of love. I think it's just because we've grown together as professionals, we've grown together in our marriage as parents. You know, we were young, we were single, and then we got married, and we just didn't even know what marriage was gonna be like, you know, going through the struggles. And then also having kids, dealing with the first kid, just like all the surprises that come along, and you just grow together as a person. And I know it's only been 6 years, but I'm telling you, it was just an amazing feeling because I finally believe that I have let go and I have trusted in God, and He has shown me how to really love my partner in spite of our differences. And I think that's why it was such an emotional moment for me. And then also, this is my husband Ryan. William is the little one, and Carter is the my first child. And also too, they have shown me so much, guys. Like, as you see, I'm a firm believer in Jesus Christ. Because of him, I am who I am today. And I believe that even just having my kids, they have taught me so much on how to get myself together, how to really live a life that leads by example, and to accept the fact that we're not perfect, but because of God's grace, I'm able to embrace his forgiveness and able to show that to my kids. And that's what I want them to know, that nobody's perfect, but God is the only one that could, bring them back, and they're going to be just okay. So this is my family, this is who we are, and I was a former teacher, and so now I am a mompreneur, and we stay at home, we travel, we go to the zoo, we go to the park, we go to the water park. We do a lot of things together, and so I'm just really excited to be at home with my kids and be able to run a business. And like I said, we don't have a traditional business, but it's a little bit different. So as you know, I was a former teacher, and here are my students there. I covered their faces because of privacy reasons, but that was me back. I think that was back in 2013 because I didn't get the year on that. But that was me in 2013. I think I was like 27 years old. I was very ambitious. I was like, I want to be a principal. And so I was studying, I was in grad school, and I just thought I had a vision. I thought that that's what I wanted. I thought I wanted to be a school principal, and eventually I thought that I wanted to be a superintendent of a school district. And it's a huge school district. So, but guess what? I life took a turn. Now I'm on a different path and just embracing different things now. And I believe that God took us to this business opportunity that allows me to be a broker here in the next few months, and to be able to be a part of an organization, to be a part of a business school that is propelling us to be brokers of successful franchises. And with this expansion, because the need is great, guys. Like, you as entrepreneurs, you know that money makes the world go round. Most of us are probably working for the money, which we're going to go into detail about that. But this is why I'm so excited about the expansion, because there's so much need. This is why we're always hiring and getting people in place so that they can also help our families out there. And so here at the top, you're able to see the group. We're working together, looking at different things on how to grow our business. And also down at the bottom below where it says 100,000, we're actually celebrating one of our colleagues that had reached the 100,000 milestone. So that in business. So definitely an exciting time there as well. So today these are the objectives that we're going to talk about. So really, guys, what I really want you to think about, you're here for a purpose, you're here for a reason, and it's to learn. So I hope that my teacher's gonna come out. I hope that you brought your pencils, your journals, or you brought your tablets and you're writing and you're taking notes. Because guys, Yes, because guys, if you really want to grow in your business, if you really want to make things happen, you must be prepared. You knew that you were going to be here, so that should have told you, "Oh, let me get some notes because I might have something that I want to write down." Okay? So today we're going to talk about what do you want? What do you really want? Every day when you wake up, are you waking up aimlessly? Are you just getting out of bed, running out, 6:30, turn the buzzard off, get the kids ready, get them out the door. Let's go, hurry up, brush your teeth, get in the car, go through traffic, drop them off to school, and then go to your business. And then you're on the hustle, hustle, hustle. And then it's lunchtime. And then you got to go back to go pick up the kids from school. And then you bring them back home. And then you're doing this and you're doing that. And then it's dinner time. And then the days go by. And then really, what happened? Well, really nothing, right? So, what is it that you really want? Why is it important to begin with the end in mind? Having this in mind. So, and how is this going to change your life? We're going to be talking about self-development, which will include the self-love, the books that you're reading, and your personal growth. We're going to be talking about the visualization, which of course that's going to come with your goals and your dreams, and then the taking the action. So, what do you want? Visualizing what you want, doing the self development, and taking action. So let me see why this thing's not. Okay, there you go. I found this quote that I thought was really amazing. It says from Stephen Covey. This is actually what inspired me to name this today. To begin with the end in mind, it says to begin with the end in mind means to start with a clear understanding, a clear picture of your destination. It means to know where you are going so that you can better understand where you are, where you are now. Did you get that? Where you are now, so that the steps you take are always in the right direction. Okay. And so this to me, it just really touched my heart because a couple of things that I want you to get out of here is start with a clear understanding of where you want to go, because that is gonna also help you reflect on where you are today, so that you don't waste time. And time just goes. It just goes, and you just got to make sure that you're going in the right direction, so that you get there. And one day this man said, you better hurry up and get to your dreams, because the longer that you take, the less that you get to the less that you get to enjoy them. Doesn't that make sense? The longer that you take to get to your dreams and goals, the less you get to enjoy them. And I thought that was a big one. So, all right, guys. So let's go ahead and talk about what it is that you want and why it's important to start with the end in mind. I want to give you an example of when I was a teacher. So when I was a teacher, there was something called the standards. Okay, they're called the standards, and there are the objectives. So when we planned 6 weeks in advance. We had to have our objectives and what our students had to learn. I had to figure out, okay, no, not figure out. I had to know exactly where our students needed to be at the end of 6 weeks. So at the end of 6 weeks, I had already chosen the ideas that we were going to study, and we were going to plan backwards. Okay. But I already had a clear picture of where we were going. I already knew that at the end of 6 weeks, my kids needed to count to 30. They needed to count forward, and they needed to count, just an example, because I used to be a pre-K teacher. They needed to count forward. They needed to count backwards. They needed to know the one-to-one correspondence. They needed to know that counting the last number that you counted was the amount of counters that you had. Okay. So that was the objective. So now I had to create the activities that were going to help my kids get there. At that point, I know where I'm going. Now I need to create my activities that are going to help my kids remember how to count to 30. So what did I have to do? I don't do exercises, clap your hands 30 times, recite every day. So every day, everything that I did had to be aligned. I had to be aligned to the objective and the outcome. And then at the end, I would do an assessment on how the kids are doing. If you're following along with me, do you see the connection of knowing what you want, planning on how to get there, and assessing if I'm getting there, right? If do I know where I'm going? Am I if do I need to make $20,000 this month? The goal is $20,000 a month. What are my strategies and how am I going to get there? Okay. The assessment, the weekly assessment. How much did I make this week? Oh man, I made $3,000. Well, guess what? I was short $2,000 because I really need to make $5,000 this month to make my $20,000 mark at the end of the month. Yes? Yes, right? And so that's just a really an example, just a quick example of what it is. But what I really want you to think about is the big picture, the huge picture, guys, on what it is that you really want. If you don't discover this, you're really just going to be aimless, and you're just not going to have a clear direction. And at the end of the day, you want to ensure that your life has meaning and that it has purpose, and that it's not just the money that you're looking for, but that you really are looking for different ways to impact people's lives. How am I setting an example for my family? How am I setting an example for my employees if I have some? Because I mean, eventually, depending on how big your goal is, you're just not going to do the work yourself. You want to hire people. How am I changing their lives? What am I doing with my money? Am I giving to charity, or am I, am I tithing, or whatever it is that you believe in? Like, what is it like? It's not just about just fulfilling yourself. If you help others, the money is going to come by itself. All right. So before we move on to the next page, I really want us to really, this is a moment of real reflection, guys. And I believe this is where you should really take note. And I hope that you really think about this. All right. So the moment of reflection, this is where you're going to really start to think about the paradigms that you have, and think about the philosophy of life, of what you want, what it is that you believe in. All right. The limited beliefs that you potentially could have, because that is all going to hinder your goals in life. Perhaps somebody said, well, the love of money is the root of all evil. And that's why you perhaps say, no, I don't need all this money because I don't want to fall in love with money. And then I don't want to just be greedy and blah, blah, blah. Well, if you're already greedy, that's not going to change. You're going to be greedy all the way. If you don't know how to take care of money now, you're not going to know how to take care of money later. So this is a moment to rid yourself of those paradigms, to really have a moment of reflection and think, what is the relationship that I have with money? Do you find yourself saying, "Oh, that's expensive. No, I can't afford that." Do you find yourself, "No, I don't think we can do that because that's gonna cost me this much money." Now I want you to get this straight. I'm not saying that to go, and if you don't have the money to go and spend what you don't have, that's not what I'm saying. But instead of saying I can't afford it, say, well, how can I afford it? What can I do to be able to afford these things? Because guys, I don't know if you realize the power of your mind and why we're talking about visualization. The power of your mind, everything that you have heard of, everything that people have, the beliefs that people have poured into you, all the conversations that you've heard of people, the radio station, all of these negative things go into your subconscious mind, and then they start taking over. And then guess what? Your actions start to do what your mind said. So if you said, I can't afford that, well, guess what? Your mind's already shut down and you're not going to do anything anymore, because your mind says, well, I don't have to think about it anymore because you can't afford it anyway. So this is why you have to be very mindful of that, mindful of the negativity that people have said. Why do you want to be a millionaire? Why do you need all this money? Why do you need all of this? Well, because I want it. If it's in my mind, it's because yeah. And so if that's what I want, it's not my fault that you are okay with making only $100,000 a year. No, I don't want $100,000 a year. I want $100,000 a month. But see, people can't conceive that because they just accept all of the negativity of other people. And so this is why it's very important for you to really reflect on these things. Again, rid yourself of paradigms, the negativity, the limited mindset, and most important, the poverty mindset. That poverty mindset where you're blaming everybody, where you're blaming the government, where you're blaming the person across the street. No, I can't do this because this person this, oh, because I'm probably gonna get in trouble, but just because I'm Latina, I'm limited on resources. Well, guess what? My dad was limited and broke, but he always said to himself, I see myself with hundreds and thousands of dollars. I see millions of dollars in my hands, and guess what? He's done it. With a Latino man with no papers, he became a citizen and he's successful. And so that's why you cannot think, don't listen to the media, don't listen to all of them, but you have to really consider those things. So why did I mention all of that? Because when you look at these pictures here, guys, I wanted to put a visual on here, which some of it is pretty much what I like, but I really want you to think about the things that you could potentially like. Giving. One of the greatest things that I want is give a lot because a lot has been given to me. I want to be able to help people and be open orphanages, be able to give Christmas presents or be able to give presents throughout the year, not just during Christmas or not just during Thanksgiving, but really pouring into the community, sponsoring organizations, donating money to organizations, really a philanthropist, right? And so giving. If you have a soul, if you have a soul, you're going to think, how can I give back? How can I give back to all of the people who have given to me? How can I give back to the clients, to the customers that have been faithful to me, that have been loyal to me? How can I give back to the employees that have always been there for me? The employees that are there, that I can trust them and that I know that they're going to be there if I call them right now. What am I doing with all of these blessings in my hands? All right. So also in the visualization process, perhaps you might consider financial freedom. Doing what you want, when you want, whenever you want, wear whatever you want, hang out with whoever, right? Do whatever. That's financial freedom, not having to worry about anything. And then also, of course, the top one right here, the little hands. I put this little tree because it reminded me of a legacy. You want to leave the legacy of your children, the legacy of wealth, not just wealth of money, but a wealth of love, a wealth of generosity, a wealth of forgiveness, a wealth of all of these things that, again, will transform people's lives. Okay. And then also here, if you look at, I really want to pinpoint some of these because I really believe I like the houses, the real estate, the house over there, the jacuzzi and all that. That's really what I want. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's what I want. And then also my kids and I traveling. Our kids, what do you want to do? Do you want to travel? Like you have to know exactly what you want. Like you cannot just again wake up and then be on the roll and be go 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 go. And then you don't, and you're just going and you're just being satisfied for the instant gratification for the day. Whoa, man, I just made $2,000, right? I just finished closing this sale. It was $2,000, or I just closed, I did this, or I had so many clients that have booked me for the month, and you're just so excited, but you're just living day to day. No, I'm not. That's not the one. That's not the kind that I'm talking about. I'm talking about long term. And that, anyway, that's what I've been talking about. And then one of the greatest things too is about being financially independent is that Mondays don't matter. Mondays are just Mondays. Sundays, you're like, oh, okay, tomorrow's Monday. But did you know that most people have heart attacks on a Monday? Did y'all know that? Why would you think that people have heart attacks on a Monday? Because they're going to work. Yeah. And a lot of them are going to work because that's all they have. And that's all they can do. And so that's why that's why again, even if you have yourself a job already, you want to propel yourself and you want to set yourself up for success because remember, success doesn't come by accident. It comes by design. All right. The visualization process. Here we're going to go into the actual detail of things. This is where your goals and dreams are going to come in handy. And I got this book that I highly, highly recommend you get. I'm going to show it to you, but the title is up here. It's called Mind Power in the 21st Century. It's by John Kehoe. This book, guys, it's amazing. My mentor gave me this book, and let me tell you, it is one of the best books that I have read. You definitely want to get it. It's up there on the screen so you can write it down. So one of the snippets that I got from there is called visualizing is using your imagination to see yourself in a situation that hasn't happened yet. Picturing yourself having or doing the thing you want and successfully achieving the results you desire. So as a believer, this reminds me of faith. This reminds me of being able to see things that they're not there. So I just want to put this out there too. Like, I believe that this is my opinion. I believe that God has given us everything that we need to be successful. And I believe that science is barely catching up. But a lot of this stuff is not just because God has created me and you with that with that being of being able to do so many things. Because if you realize animals can't do what we do, trees can't do what we do. We're the only ones with that kind of mentality and with that with drive to be able to do stuff because we were made in his image. And so now that you know what you want, now this is a moment where you start to visualize this moment. When I showed you the pictures before, that was just an example so that you have an idea, so you can start to get an idea. But if now you're thinking about, well, I want this house, now it's the moment for you to go into detail about what the house looks like. So when I see a house, or when I'm in bed at night, because I visualize this, when I'm in bed at night, I close my eyes, and I'm gonna show you in a minute, but I close my eyes and I think about my house, and I think about the patio, and I think about that jacuzzi, and I think about the view and what my husband and I see in that view. So that's me visualizing that. It's not in existence yet, but I visualize it daily. If you were to do this, guys, this would dramatically change your life where you take the moment and you actually stop the chaos, and you relax, and you go in your room by yourself. That meditation process, whatever that looks like for you, whether you're a believer or not, your meditation yourself, you stop and you think, what is it that I want? What does that house look like? What does that trip look like? Let me come back to the house. Who's in that house? My kids are in that house. I'm making breakfast. I'm making eggs. I'm making bacon because that's a favorite. Okay. We have huge windows. We have heated floors. Um, we have the second floor. We go in the front, there's snow. That's why I said jacuzzi, because we're gonna be outside when it's cold. And so the house is just full of windows. That's just what I like. It's not my husband's idea, that's mine, but he'll go with it. And the heated floors. And so did you see how detailed I went into? It's not just, oh, I want a house. No, but what does that house look like? Okay. Or also too, if I'm talking about being a blessing to my community, okay, so how am I blessing the community? So one thing that we've thought about is, okay, let's get blankets for when it's cold. Let's get heated blankets. Let's pass them out to the people, to the homeless people. Like, these are things that you're already imagining in your mind. And guess what? At the end of the day, your brain is going to start to function, and it's going to start propelling you to start doing the actions that are going to take you where you're supposed to be. And then, especially if you're a believer in Christ, God's going to do that. God's going to take you to that. God is going to give you the power to be able to do that so that you can go. Okay. So it says, learn to create your dream. So let's look at this right here. So one of the first things that you need to do is, again, always visualize your goal as if it's already actually happening. Make it real in your mind and make it detailed. Enter that role and become in it in your mind. Like, when you close your eyes, it's kind of like you're watching a mental movie. And I know some people are going to be like, that's crazy. But guys, if you were to realize the power of the mind and so much that we don't know, and how it works, like, this is going to really help you get to where you want to be. Okay. And visualize your goal at least once each and every day. The power is in the repetition. So a lot of you, I don't know if you're familiar with who Arnold Schwarzenegger. So you know who that is, right? He was a movie star. He was a Mr. Universe. He used to do lifting weights, and he was a politician. So when he started to train, guys, he said that he would visualize himself every single day, and that he visualized himself winning the Mr. Universe contest. And every single time that he went into the competition, he walked like he owned the place, because he visualized it so much, he already knew he won. And guess how many times he won? 5 times. He won Mr. Universe 5 times. Of course, it wasn't just the visualization piece, but it was also the also him working out and doing things, right? But him doing that, that's what his mind was telling him to do. Okay, time to get some sleep, time to work out. He used to say, man, can we sleep faster so that I can get to working out? So his story is incredible. But I'm telling you guys, if it has worked for him and it has worked for many people, I have seen it for myself and of course for my dad because he used to. I remember him saying, I see myself with thousands and hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. I've seen it. I've seen it work, and I just one thing that I'm thankful for him because he's always said he always talked about the vision. So decide what you want, start writing it down, relax, get into that mode and start to think about these things. Spend at least 5 to 10 minutes visualizing your what you really want. And so some of the things that you might want is getting more business, getting more clients. Visualize yourselves more clients at your store, more clients visiting your website, more clients adding or customers adding you to social media, and more people giving you referrals, more people giving you shout outs on social media, and everything that is going to help you in your business. Also too, if you're in a relationship or if you want to find that special someone, visualize the person that you want. What kind of person do you want? Do you want somebody who's also as ambitious like you? Do you want somebody who is a believer perhaps like you, or if that doesn't matter to you, okay, that's fine. Or what do you want? Do you want the person, do looks matter to them? Okay, so if you're talking about that partner that perhaps their looks don't matter to you, because I have heard that if you get an ugly partner, you don't have to worry about people, you know, taking them away from you. No, I'm just kidding. Because I know as women, we tend to focus more on the inner conversation, that you know how to talk, but whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying. Or if you're also wanting a better relationship with your kids, with your spouse, whatever the case may be. Okay, and I want to read this little excerpt from here. It's really short. It says, results come when the image is imprinted again and again and again and again for a period of weeks or months until your goal has been achieved. There's also a little story, a little survey that they did with three groups of basketball players. Okay, so they were all in the game, and they did a study to see how much visualization mattered. Okay, so they had three teams. The first team was going to practice and do whatever they do every single day. So they continue to practice. The second team of basketball players, they did nothing. Okay. The third group of people, they were actually practicing, but they were practicing in their mind. So they were not actually out there on the field. They were just imagining that they were practicing, probably imagining the hoops and everything like that. But guess what? Whenever they came back after a month, the first group that actually practiced every day, they showed great improvement. And what do you think happened to the second group? Well, nothing, right? Because they didn't practice. And then the third group that just imagined playing, they improved just as much as the people that were practicing on a daily basis. Isn't that I don't know, isn't that something? I thought that was fascinating. I was like, it's just a proof and just an example of what the mind can do and how it can really help you. Okay, so I'm trying to okay. So now that you know what you want, you're already starting to visualize, guys. And I think to me, if you don't remember anything, I really need you to focus on that visualization. Because that's what's gonna really start to help you and help you get there. And then now we're talking about the self-development because you can't really just you can grow in your areas just by developing, just by visualizing. But at this point, this is where the 3 and 4, the objective 3 and 4, that's what's really going to help you boost yourself to get there. Because you just can't wish and do and just wish and just think about things, but you really have to get moving. And so, self development, the self love, the books, and the personal growth. So, ask yourself these questions. What am I doing to grow? Look, I've been in business myself, In a traditional business, we had a childcare center, and it was always go, 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 go. I would go in from 7 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then after 6 o'clock, perhaps go to the grocery store to buy stuff for the kids. And it was always busy. And sometimes we can let the business run us. But guys, you have to take control of the business, because remember, if some of you have families or you're considering to have a family, you want to make sure that you get these things straight. And I don't know about you, but I know we hear this a lot too, that it's about balancing. Well, guess what? It's not about balancing. Life is not about balancing. I don't know if you knew that. That's also something that you should put on your notes. Balance is not going to take you anywhere. Because if you give the same amount of time to your kids and the same amount of business to your business and the same amount of time to your husband or to your wife, to your spouse, whatever, you're not going to get anywhere. It's going to take a long time. Sometimes your family is going to need you more than your business needs you. Sometimes your business will need you more than your family does. I know that sounds like mean, or it's going to sound like, no, that's pretty terrible. It's not, it's not. Just ask the people who have a job. Don't they work from 7 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the afternoon? Where are their kids? At school. Where are their kids? In daycare. Are they with their kids? No, because guess what? My job needed me more at this moment. But people don't ever see it that way. Well, guess what? Same thing with your business. If you need to be out on Saturday, at this moment, my business needs me than my kids. But we're gonna go into detail about that. So we're going to talk about self-care. How do I refresh myself on a daily basis? Because if I'm being who I'm supposed to be, I'm being a loving and I'm being a kind person, I'm pouring into people on a daily basis. I'm giving out my energy. No, I'm not talking about that energy when you're just giving out your energy to all the negative people. Just let it go. It's not that serious. It's not that serious. If you're talking to people that just don't listen, just let it go and just get them out of your circle and just continue focusing on what it is that you're doing. All right. And so that's why it's very important that you do your self-care on a daily basis. Because if you don't, then you are probably not going to be showering. You're probably not going to be taking care of yourself physically. You're probably always going to be at McDonald's eating fries and chicken sandwiches and nuggets. Or you're probably going to be out there listening to stuff that you shouldn't be listening to. You're probably always going to be depressed. You're probably going to be gaining weight. Doesn't this sound terrible? But sometimes we miss out on that self-care. And as a result, we end up doing these things that don't benefit us at all, right? Because remember, our business needs us, our family needs us, and we have to have it together. And the only way that you can get it together, of course, if is doing that self-care, taking care of yourself, eating healthy, doing what's right, mentally preparing, just like when you go to the gym, just like you plan to eat healthy meals, do that to your brain. Do exercises for your brain. Do that visualization. Think about these things that are negative, these things that you need to get out of your soul, things that you need to get out of your chest. If somebody has said to you, man, you're not going to make it, get that out of your mind. Get all that negative out of your mind. You're not going to pass that test. Get that out of your mind. I'm going to pass this test. You're not going to make it. No, I'm going to make it. Why do you want to be a millionaire? No, I'm going to be a millionaire. No, shoot, forget that. I'm going to be a billionaire. That's what's going to happen. I'm going to prove myself that I can do this. But that's where the self-care comes in, because now you have that time to embrace yourself, that time to really think, that time to meditate. What does that meditation look like? Am I talking to myself? For example, for me, meditation for me is visualization. My Veronica Still's meditation is talking to God, actually sitting in silence and listening to what God wants me to see. Because through meditation, regardless of believer or not, all of these things that you need to think about are going to come. If you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, it's going to come. Hey, why did you do that? Why did you talk to the customer like that? Oh, it'll come. Hey, you know what? This business isn't going to where it's supposed to be. It's going to come during meditation. It's going to come. Like all of these thoughts, all of these things are going to come at that moment of quietness. And to me, that's it's one of the most important things that I could ever do. And then also too, one of the big ones, guys, learning about the business. What am I doing to grow in my business? Am I staying to par and the new and improved era? Right. So if you're in the business and you haven't, kept up with social media, you don't even know how to turn on your social media, but if you're here, I'm sure you can, right? Or how am I supposed to do, my ads, or let's just say you're in the food industry. What's the new thing out there that I can perhaps, like if you're in the coffee business, what else can I offer? What's hot out there? What is everybody else drinking? What else is healthy? Can I offer my customer something that is not caffeinated, or something that's not going to turn their teeth yellow? I don't know if you know the coffee. Or what's the trend out there? Like, what's the fashion world telling me today? Or for example, myself, what are the new things that my clients need to look at, such as, looking at their finances. What are people saving? What are people doing? What investments are perhaps good for our clients? How can I help my clients budget? What are the financial gurus saying? So every day you are, learning about, what that really entails, and what that looks like. And so this guys right here is such an important piece that, again, you really need to really think about. You know what you want. You're already visualizing. You're doing that self-care, which in that self-care you are already using that moment of meditation to do your visualization, to get, and then also at that time to get rid of all of those paradigms, to get rid of all of the negative thoughts that perhaps are hindering you. Guys, if you were to realize the amount of negativity that is in our mind, but we don't realize it. Just the other day I was I was at, what's that store, Dollar General, and the guy on the radio was like, "Yeah, Neiman Marcus just put out their new, what is it? Their new ad. What is it? Their new."
Gift guide? Is it the gift
Yes,
guide? Yeah,
yes.
that big catalog.
Yes, and they're like, "Yeah, they put all that gift guide out, and, none of us can afford it." And I'm like, "Excuse me? You can't afford it?" But guys, like, I know some of you could probably just, it passed over your head, but it didn't pass through mine, because those are the kinds of thoughts, those are the thoughts that hinder you, the thoughts that stop you from starting to think about, "Well, I can't afford it. No, I can't do that. That's for rich people. No, that's for limited-minded people." And that's why you gotta be so careful who you listen to. And I know for some people are gonna say that you're so exaggerating. Okay, well, where are you in life? Are you where you wanna be? Are you? Are you successful? Are you at that success? "Oh, I'm doing good." Okay, how good? Can you be great? Or are you good? "Oh, yeah." Who compared to who? It's just, I don't know, it's just, to me, I just, my mom thinks I'm crazy. She's like, "You always," I'm like, "No, mom." It's like, we just gotta be careful how we talk, because for example, for me, my kids are listening, and I don't ever want them to grow up with the mentality of just a negative thought about money. So anyway, I just thought that ad was kind of not an ad, but it was just kind of like, I don't know, I just didn't really didn't like it. So before I continue with that, for the meditation process, guys, take a moment also to give to for gratitude. A moment to check on yourself, and of course the visualization, but the gratitude piece is going to be a huge part as well. Guys, even if success, this is part of your paradigms, and it's also part of your philosophy of what you think of life, what success looks like. Guys, even if you do as simple as waking up 10 minutes before, let's just say that you wake up at 7 every day and you're like, "Man, I need to start waking up early." Okay, even if you wake up 10 minutes before, guess what? That's already success, because you weren't doing that before. So, and that's a moment to say, "Man, I am thankful that I was able to wake up 10 minutes," because those 10 minutes are going to really push you to get ahead just a little bit. And so let's go ahead and continue um, with the next slide. The taking action part. This one is Okay, so the taking action part, I'm just gonna talk a little bit about it, but I do want to leave it for the next time because I believe that is going to be a huge piece. And actually, I have a schedule to show you, but I'm not going to show you the schedule today. I'm going to show it to you next week. But taking action, okay? We have a purpose. We know where we're going. We know what we want. We already visualizing. We're taking care of ourselves, and in that self-care, we are doing the visualization and the taking action, the personal family time and the business schedule. So this right here is going to be such an important piece. Like I said, this is not your typical taking action part about, which I'm going to think about it and I'm going to see if we can do an example of what that could look like for your business, but taking action and how we can incorporate different pieces so that we can stay cohesive. I don't really believe in the balance, but just really stay cohesive so that, we can be successful, have a successful life with our family and have a successful life with our business and of course with the people that are surrounding us. So I hope that this was of value to you, and I will go ahead and leave that back to Miss Jetty.
Oh my gosh, that was so wonderful. Thank you, Veronica. That was truly excellent. We've got a great crowd here today watching and listening in. So don't forget if you had a question, if something was cropping up and you were like, I wonder how Veronica dealt with this situation, put that in the chat. And in the meantime, let's have a discussion here. Let's rewind back to the beginning when you were telling us about your goals for your teaching career and how you wanted to be a principal and superintendent and really soar through those ranks. What ultimately made you decide to leave that? What was that process like, and how long did it take?
Yeah, so I started in education because well, first my dad is a pastor, so I'm a pastor's daughter, which I wasn't the bad ones because I know there's a lot of bad rap about pastors' kids and that we're just awful. I'm not one of those, just being for real. But when we had a goal of opening schools and opening charter schools, which actually my dad's in the process of doing that. My dad's an action-oriented person, guys. So he's in the process of opening schools, and that's what got me to get into teaching and then wanting to do the principal and of course the superintendent, which I do have my certification for that, and I do have a certification for childcare too, so I'm just all certified up. Um, but when I think about it, having a traditional business like, the budgeting and spending the money for the schools and everything like that and all that it entails, it just took too much. And even being a teacher, guys, as a teacher, I used to get to school at 6 in the morning or at 6:30 in the morning, and sometimes I wouldn't leave till 10. And that was just bad. And it was always like, I need you to do this, I need you to do that, and this and this and that. And it was just so much. But it wasn't until I got this opportunity to be able to have a non-traditional business that can help us again become a broker and really the financial freedom, that's what I was looking for. I wanted it to be able to do what I want whenever I really mean it. I mean, I'm doing it now with my kids and I'm not even where I want to be. I can't even imagine once the money starts matching what I want. And so really being around the right people and seeing how they're just a wholesome because their families together, they're very successful. And through that mentorship process, that's what said, you know what? I think I can do that too. If you can do it, I can do it too. So just I actually left education 2 years ago. So I'm just fresh off of that. And so it was just that I want being able to do that. And the most that I could probably make as a principal was $100,000. And that's $100,000 a year. I want to be able to make $100,000 in a month, not in a year. So that's just why I'm being real, and also too being able to give back to the community. And I started off small. We do that all the time, but it was just the visions and the goals that we had, and I knew that that couldn't be done if I was just a teacher or a principal at the level that we want.
No, that totally makes sense. So you were kind of like looking at your future. You were planning for the end. You were
Yes.
planning for the end and then kind of, sorting through it. I would love to hear what kinds of limiting beliefs you think that you've had that you've worked through. You were talking about some of the limiting beliefs that all of us can have. You mentioned money, but are there any that you look back and you're like, wow, Veronica, 5 years ago is different because of this limiting belief that I let go of?
Yeah, so I and those are things I see, I get emotional just thinking about that because it's just trash that you just gotta get out of your mind. Because again, the different your surroundings and what people are saying. And then, like I said, we grew up on, I don't know if I mentioned it, but we grew up on food stamps. We grew up on Medicaid. We used to have they took our house away from us. We were jumping from place to place. And so I guess at the end of the day, my dad did have that mentality of I want money, I want this, I want that, but he never really, I mean, he never really talked to us about it, but it was more like, you know, me understanding that I could not let go of I can't afford that. No, I can't do that. Why are you dreaming so much? Why do you want, because I've caught myself listening to what people say to me. Why do you want so much? Money is a and as a pastor's daughter, well, money is the root of all evil. Well, if you want all this money, you're just gonna just kinda like just perish with it, you know? And those are just different things that guys, money is just a tool. You control it. You cannot, we cannot, and that's why I had to get rid of it because I had to say to myself, I'm not a slave to money. I'm the master of money because I know how to master my feelings and emotions and not go and spend the money like crazy and just indulge in myself. But it's also being able to bless other people and of course, my family too. But those are really ones that or the one like, I can't afford it. Why do you want so much? Money is the root of all evil. And also too, you're not good enough. I'm not good enough to even, if I say I want $1,000,000, how are you gonna do that? You're not good enough. You can't, and so that's why like I said, it's just trash that I'm just releasing. Like I said, I'm practicing it myself because I don't want those thoughts to come back to my mind. And I encourage all of you to dig deep and just throw them away. Throw them in the trash and replace them with I'm worthy, I'm good enough, I'm studying, I'm doing what I have to do, what it takes to get this done.
So have you always had this type of mindset, would you say?
No, gosh, no, no. We because I'm part of the business builder school, that's part of the mentorship that we get because a lot of, see, back then before, like when we it was always just like, why am I stuck? Like, why am I here? And then not until our mentor started talking about the limited beliefs, and he said, okay, you need to write down. No, literally, he made us do that. He get your paper, and I need you to write down all the things that you think that you can't do. And then so we wrote that down. And then he said, replace that. And so literally this started like 2 years ago. 2 years ago when we started to do that.
And it seems like you've made a big change. Is there anything when you were talking about, really visualizing and looking at maybe the home you want, or maybe it's like that you can easily grab something out of the Neiman Marcus gift guide, or maybe it's that you can be available to pick up your kids from school, whereas before you weren't. When you're thinking about your life, is there anything you can think of that you're like, hey, you know what? I really made that happen. Like I visualized that and now it exists in my life today.
Right now, I'm currently working on it, but I think one of the things that I've done was I'm gonna give you this example. When I was graduating from, well, I got my undergrad. Guys, I'm telling you, this is so real. I don't even know how. When I was in grad, I'm sorry, undergrad, and I was like, "Okay, now it's time to be a principal. I gotta go to grad school." And I visualized myself going to grad school, and mind you, I had a teacher's, pay, so that wasn't good, and so that wasn't gonna pay for grad school. So, I was like, "God, I don't know how we're gonna do this." And literally, I went blinded, like, "God, I don't know how you're gonna do this, but you're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. Like, I need to pay for grad school. I don't know how I'm gonna go. I'm going to apply for grad." Literally, guys, I applied for grad school, not having any money, not having a scholarship. And I kid you not, the day of orientation, the guy said, "Well, we're gonna give you guys a scholarship." Because you guys are the first class for this program, and we want to help you, and we're gonna give you, I think, $1,000 or something every semester or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, like I can definitely do that. Like it helped, and they helped me. They helped me. What is it? What is it? They gave me a plan, like a payment plan. So with $1,000 every semester, I was probably only taking one class, so that was like the whole class. So because it was cheaper back then, but that was definitely a moment where I don't know, it was just that visualization. But like I said, guys, like this is not just me believing that we can all, because I believe I can do all myself. I believe I can do all things through Christ, and I keep mentioning that because I don't want to put my belief on you, but I can do that. I can do all things through Christ, and that's why I was able to visualize, and I knew that God was gonna be there for me, and He sure was. And now I know that if He did it in the past, I can do it again, and that He can do it again every day.
Beautifully put. Veronica, thank you so much for today. Gosh, we could have kept going for another hour, and the good news is we will be able to a week from today. Thank you again so much for the presentation and for everything. We have a ton more questions for you, which we will ask next week.
Thank you.
So I hope that you guys enjoyed the session today. We are a couple things before we wrap up. First of all, part 2 with Veronica is going to be next week, same time, same place, with that new time of 3 p.m. Central Time. Looks like we've got a nice crowd here today, so we'll, hopefully get everybody back again next week. And again, our topic, now I'm like going through my notes. I'm like, okay, where's my note on our topic? It's begin with the end in mind, and that'll be part 2. So today was part 1, next week is part 2. If you've been watching this and thinking, you know what, there is somebody that needs to hear this, or, maybe a business partner or a colleague or a family member, a friend, that sort of thing, then it will be up on Sarah National's YouTube channel in a week. So on Wednesday, it'll actually be up on Wednesday so that they can watch the replay and then join. Finally, I want to remind you about this. Save the date. If you happen to be in North Texas, or hey, maybe you want to come to North Texas for an incredible conference, Sarah 2023's conference, I can't believe we're talking about 2023, is going to be in Plano, Texas on May 3rd. So more info to come for sure, but just know May 3rd, 2023, put it on the calendar right now, plan to come. It's going to be a really, really incredible event, and we do hope to see all of you there if you're able to make it, and I will see all of you next week, 3 p.m. Central Time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye, everybody.